All right, so welcome to the Gears 3 theater presentation. Last night we debuted Horde 2.0 and we rocked the house with body count, if you've heard about that. That explains why I'm now talking in a very deep voice, because I was screaming and drinking heavily. So I will do my best to keep my energy up through this presentation. And one way we're going to do that is by Paul doing this. Gotta wait for that, otherwise I get hit by it on the way away. So, how many people played the beta? Wow, a lot of you. So, fun?
Hell yeah.
So thank you so much for playing, because, I mean, we had a little bit of a rocky road in part of it, but that rocky road is what's going to make it smooth on September 20th, so we learned so much, and the game will be so much better. I'll actually be able to sleep on September 20th as opposed to chewing my nails waiting to find out what happens. But how many people saw the media briefing where Cliff was on stage with us? Okay, please around you. So Cliff didn't have a lot of time. He gets basically told you got 20 seconds and then we're firing it up, and so we didn't have a lot of time to give context, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of that. When you think about Gears 1, 2, and 3, Gears of War 1 was about a battle. You're trying to help Alpha Squad deploy the resonator. Gears 2 was about ending the war with the Locust and seeking Jacinto fighting the Hollow. And Gears 3 is about saving the planet. The planet's been infected by the lambent infection and emulsion, and basically it's just tearing the planet apart from the inside and self-destructing. And so basically the course of the story is, as you saw from the trailer, Marcus's father may be alive, and Marcus's father may know something about this, and that's kind of the journey of Gears of War 3. And though it's a much bigger scope story in terms of going from a battle all the way up to saving the planet, it's also a much more personal story, because of this apocalyptic events, the coalition of order governments is no longer existing, the Chairman Prescott has disappeared, and so what do you do when that happens? You turn to the ones you trust. And so these Gears are not together because they're part of a military organization or because they're part of a squad. It's not Delta Squad anymore. This is a group of Marcus's friends, and they're together to try to survive, fight for survival. So as you saw part in the demo on Monday, part of that survival is the Gears are taken to the sea. They've taken over this Raven's Nest aircraft carrier, and they decided to turn it into basically a floating city, and that's where they're going to make their stand and sort of try to live out the rest of their days. And they're entering lambent waters when they get attacked by this infected sea monster we call the lambent leviathan. And the only way they can really counter and deal with it is one of our new things, which is the silverback mech. It's this big exoskeleton. It's one of our other co-op weapons and co-op features, because you can stomp around and shoot rockets and use a chain gun to help stop, deploy, and then have people take cover up behind you and use that for protection and fight from there as well. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so that's what you saw on Monday. Now, one of the couple things we didn't talk about on Monday was part of the lambent infection. When it infects the locust, it kind of burns them up from the inside, so they're sort of full of emulsion. So when they die, you see them explode with the energy. They don't just fall over dead. And so you can imagine we go all the way from that little polyp, which is like a parasite creature, all the way up to the lambent leviathan. The bigger they get, the more explosive they become, so you have to be careful when you're playing. So one of the big things we want to do, though, in Gears of War 3 is, like, when you played Gears of War 1, and you played Factory, and we sent Cole and Baird off into the sewer, and you went on another mission, it was, what was going on their side? What were they doing? And in Gears of War 3, we have a story beat in the game that's really important for Cole. It's about going home and visiting Hanover, going back to his old Thrashball Stadium. And we were like, it's more important to experience that as Cole than it is to sort of be Marcus and watch Cole go through that. And so we had to come up with a way that we wanted to do storytelling to allow you to play both as Marcus for most of the game, but also have a time when you can play as Cole. And the way that we're doing that is we're doing this sort of, what we like to call this Pulp Fiction kind of rewind, where we have two separate timelines for a brief period. So once you jump from the ship, you'll actually rewind for about an hour earlier in that morning when Cole and Baird and Sam and Clayton go off to find supplies in Hanover. And over the course of that journey through Hanover to find supplies, they hear about the ship being under attack and they go to help. And the way they do that is they want to get to this bridge. And when they get to the bridge, they find these locusts they weren't expecting. And it's these savage locusts, these locusts that aren't being ruled by the queen. And it's that idea that we're all stranded now. Even the locusts don't have that sort of civilization that they're used to. And when they get there, they see that these savage locusts are using these ticker traps and to dump the tickers onto humans on the boats below. And so they said, like, we can use that against them. And so one of the things you're going to see here is these two separate paths are going to go along. And so Marcus and Dom have their path, and Baird and Cole have their path. And for this brief moment, those two paths are going to touch at the same time. And it's this Leviathan that's going to cause that. And one of the cool things in this part of the demo is we've introducing a new weapon, which is our co-op minigun called the Vulcan. And essentially it's a two-person gun. One person works the ammo crate, active reloading. The other person works the gun and just can be streaming bullets like crazy. And then we'll talk about it after.
I suppose you want me to say I've always loved you.
Oh.
But I don't. I really, really don't.
So there you go. That's the other side of that encounter. So, like, you see that even the Savage Locusts are so low tech that in order to build turrets, they actually have to take rifles off the ground and put them into a rack and use that. We call it the retro turret. So that's the campaign. You can see what happens now. We've ended with, Marcus and Dom have jumped off the ship into the ocean. Cole and Baird have slid off the bridge. Then buy the game to find out. All right, so let's talk about Horde 2.0. Now, this, as those of you who are familiar with the game will know, is the Butcher's Cleaver. And what's cool about the Butcher's Cleaver this time around is this is actually a playable weapon in the game we're announcing at E3. So not only when you kill the Mauler, he drops a shield, when you kill a Butcher, he'll drop his Cleaver. Now you can pick it up and you can wield it against the Locust. This is actually a weapon created by NECA, much like our Lancers and our Retro Lancer, so at some point in the future you'll be able to buy that bad boy. Horde 2.0, there's so much to cover in Horde, how much we've changed it. We wanted to focus on taking everything everybody loved about Horde. People talk about being just Horde players and that kind of stuff, and that it's the most popular way to play Gears Online. So we wanted to make it deeper, richer, but not so complex that people will get lost in it. So I think the best person to explain this to you is probably our own Control, Anya Stroud.
Listen up, people. I'm Anya Stroud, and this is your Horde 2.0 briefing. Horde is back, and it's better than ever. Oh, it's the gameplay you love, surviving wave after wave of ever stronger enemies. But this time, you'll also be facing the mutating lambent, huge boss creatures, and mid-wave objectives for much-needed supplies. And with that kind of challenge, you're going to need more than just your trusty Lancer. You're going to need fortifications. Fortifications can be broken down into 5 main types: barriers, decoys, sentries, turrets, and my personal favorite, the Silverback.
Gotta love a woman with power.
But before you start building, you need to decide where to make your stand.
Time to fortify our position.
Look for a command post and activate it. Now you're ready to build. Building a fortification is simple. See the green ghost image? Get close to it and press the Y button to buy it. You can build different types of barriers to slow the enemy down, decoys to draw enemy fire, automated sentries to defend key areas, turrets to mow down the bigger enemies, and of course, the Silverback, a mobile base all its own. Now, as you build fortifications, your skill grows and their effectiveness increases. So keep building. And to do all that building, you'll need money. Fortunately, earning it is as easy as killing the enemy. Every kill is worth cash, and that cash can be spent on building fortifications, repairing and upgrading fortifications, extra ammo, more powerful weapons. And if you fall in battle, you can even buy yourself back into the fight. But it's not just about you. Fighting off the Horde requires teamwork. So now you can easily trade weapons, share ammo, and even give cash to other gears.
Have some cash.
I know you're clear about your objective. Kill the grubs. But from time to time, you'll receive bonus objectives to boost the war effort. You don't have to complete them, but you'll get weapons, ammo, and more cash if you do. And here's a final heads up. Every 10th wave is a boss wave, and Queen Mira will unleash the full fury of the Locust Horde and the dreaded Lambent. Got all that, soldier? Good. Now get out there and make it count!
There you go. That's basically Horde 2.0 in a nutshell. One of the cool things too, those of you who played Horde a lot know that you're going to do your 1 through 50. You can spend 6 hours playing, and then after 5.5 hours, somebody needs to go to bed, and you lose your host, and the game craps out on you. You've lost all your progress. In Gears 3, we have host migration, so you'll just move on to the next player, pick a new host, and you can continue the fight. And what's cool is that you can invite your other people in to replace the person who dropped as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a challenge before our 5 epic Microsoft players. And we're going to play on a map called Hotel. It's one of the exclusive maps we're showing at E3. And we're going to load right up into a boss wave. Now, the interesting thing about the variety side I was talking about, we have over 5 different enemy sets, so you never know what you're going to get when you play Horde 2. And the same is true for the bosses. We have over 5 different kinds of bosses that you can have. And we literally, honestly, don't know which one we're going to get when we're playing. So it could be anything. So let's see what's up. So what we're going to see, someone's going to go by a command post to establish where we can build fortifications. So now everybody knows where their base is. And now you can see all the green shadows. They're build barriers, build turrets, build sentries. They can even go up on top right corner. Clayton's going to build a silverback. Now we're cheating. We've unlocked all levels of fortifications. We've given ourselves a ton of cash to get ready. But every wave has a 30-second deployment phase. And so you can see the clock ticking down. They got 9 seconds to finish building their fortifications before the boss and everybody else arrives. Here we go. Survey says... That looked like a rocket from a Reaver. Now, corpsers, nice. So now a boss wave is not just the boss, they get all their supporting forces too. So they can dig underground, the corpses go underground and they can heal, and they'll attack their fortifications. Nice, on you with the boom shot, taking care of the mauler. Grinder. Watch out, see the corpse digs underground, you'll just see his finger come up onto the ground and try to stomp on people. See, the fortification's slowing down, that's why you need to build. There's the Seraphine. The giant Seraphine's got to shoot him in the butt. One of our co-op enemies. Somebody's got to grab aggro and run around while everybody else shoots him in the ass. Oh, grinding down, getting down. Nice. Oh. Nice mantle kick by Anya top left. Kansas. You can see they're using the new spotting feature. You can spot enemies to call them out. That's what the little red circles are. Bottom left using the turret to build. One left. That's the mauler. Nice. There you go. So you give me a sense of last time I interrupted this, but alright, look, nice job whoever's playing as Preston today. A lot of kills. You can see we get a survival bonus, difficulty bonus. You can actually have mutators in Horde now, so that big head mode you played in the beta, you'll actually be able to play in Horde. Jim, you didn't level. So that was the best you could do. So there you go, that's sort of a sneak peek into Horde 2. If you want to, we have 10 stations out back that you can play on. We're playing, I think, 3 waves is about the time we have in 10 minutes you can play through. But I'd love for you to go and try it, but I'm really excited. What's really cool, we have a special guest in the audience, Mr. Robin Atkins is here in the corner. So those of you who know Minion Kim from Gears 1, and he's also now our voice of Theron in Kansas as well, so he likes to rock the monsters. And also we're going to end the presentation today with a little sampling of our lovely body cam song, Gears of War, so we'll leave you with that. Thanks for coming. See you soon.
Lances, no shot control guns. CLG does swag got bloodlust. Unleash your grill, fuck a road shield. The hammer I down to make the locust kneel. I'm a hammer burst pro. Headshot berserkers with a drone bow. I give a fuck about Horde. OG Marcus Phoenix, straight up in the wars. Never enough. We want more. Body the hearts and brain. Blood on the floor. Never afraid. We've been here before. We are the kids.